Sooners are known for stealing land. Now they're known for stealing games.
There goes Davis. Oh my God! Davis is going running all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game.
Hello and welcome to this episode of War Eagle Weekly. How are we doing, Josh?
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah.
I'm still
Yeah.
burnt up, man. It's Monday and I'm still burnt up. I just we are screwed. Auburn did a lot to squander the opportunities they were given. That much is, you cannot deny that. You can't deny the fact that
No.
we gave up 10 sacks or 9 sacks, whatever the final scoreboard or scorecard said. And you can't deny the fact that Jackson Arnold held onto the ball way too long. You can't sit in a pocket and hold the ball for 4+ seconds. You just can't. You can't forgive Arnold for overthrowing Cam Coleman more than 3 times wide open down the field for what looked like was going to be a touchdown. But you're crazy if you defend what happened on the field Saturday in terms of the refs helping Oklahoma. First touchdown of the game belonged to Auburn, fumble for a touchdown. It just did. Oklahoma's first touchdown was just gifted to them from the refs. I mean, yes, Oklahoma had 11 players on the field. Yes, Oklahoma only had 11 players in the huddle. You cannot walk to the sideline like that player did, acting like he's going to get subbed out. He's just walking gingerly to the sideline with his head down, looked like he was taking his gloves off, and then automatically decides you want to just line up on the far hash and then go as soon as the ball is snapped. That's deception. You can't use the substitution process to deceive your opponent, to make them think that player is going off the field. You just can't. And the refs, they just let it happen. Eric Singleton's pass to Cam Coleman down the field for what was definitely going to be a touchdown. Cam Coleman tackled before he even had a chance to put his finger on the ball.
Now
And
we did
everyone's
score a
defending the
touchdown
refs
there.
because the ref had his. We did,
So.
but that was just another huge call. That was not that another huge friggin' play that wasn't called correctly. Everyone's defending the refs because the ref behind Cam Coleman and that DB had his back turned. But if you looked in that same picture, there's a ref down the field looking straight at the play. And then Oklahoma throws a ball down the field. Sylvester Smith knocks it out of the receiver's hands, out of bounds, and it was ruled an incomplete catch on the field. Then they reviewed it and said it was a completed pass, which is fine because, in my opinion, it really was a completed pass. He had possession before it was knocked out, before he went out of bounds. But if you're going to call that a completed a pass and catch, you got to call the fumble for a touchdown a complete pass and a fumble. You just have to, because both of those plays were ruled the way it should have happened, but then it got overturned in review. It's horseshit. The fact that the SEC released a statement after the game, it does absolutely freaking nothing. You would think, like, the only thing that could possibly make it up in my mind is if the SEC takes away 7 points from Oklahoma and the game is officially a tie. That'll never happen. It shouldn't happen, to be honest. To be honest, but Auburn realistically should have won that game by 2 points.
No, I agree, man. It was absolutely terrible what the refs were doing. And I am one of those people that absolutely positively hates blaming the refs. You got to play better than the worst ref. So we'll get to more about Oklahoma's referees. They basically should have had Oklahoma jerseys on the entire game. Not the entire game, but we'll get to that here a little bit later. For now, I do want to talk about Auburn's many opportunities that we squandered because Josh, 4.5 minutes or 5 minutes left in the game, and we're up on Oklahoma, and our defense is out there, and they've been playing lights out the entire game. The entire game, they looked absolutely the way we thought they were going to look coming into the year. DJ Durkin obviously was hiding something. The team wasn't. They weren't doing everything that they were planning on doing in this game. In the first 3 games, so but on that drive, Oklahoma put together a phenomenal drive, and they had a receiver make a phenomenal catch from a phenomenal throw. It was a catch, which means that the catch and fumble in the first quarter should have gone the way
Should have
that we
counted.
it should have counted, um, because both of them were catches, and our defense didn't do anything to stop them. Our defense didn't do anything, and that's just one example of one of the opportunities we had. And then you know what? I never in my entire life have I looked at that and said, okay, we got 4.5 minutes, we're down by 5, and we have 3 timeouts. Never in my life have I looked at that situation and said, oh, we don't have a chance. And then what did we do? We went and completely shot ourselves in the foot multiple times. Okay, we get a penalty on special teams once again, something that is a pattern with this coaching staff, because at this point we're 3 years in. These are three different teams. You can't say it's a team problem, it's a coaching staff problem. Something is up with that. It just does not make any sense. So that's our first mistake. And then our linemen are false starting, putting us further back.
I thought
And
we got rid of Percy Lewis, bro.
dude, okay,
I could have swore.
my thing is this defensive line what is the best defensive line we're going to see all year. I don't think Georgia's defensive line is going to be like this.
No,
They're going to be good, but I don't think they're going to be like this. And there were plenty of times that the offensive line in this game gave Jackson Arnold plenty of time. And there were
it's true.
times that they got beat. And unfortunately, when you're going against top end talent like this, you're going to get beat. And they were trying to get a head start in a hostile environment. You think back of all the times that Auburn playing at home have caused that exact same situation. Okay? It just happens. And so, yes, they were getting beat, and yes, they looked sluggish from time to time, but then there were times that Jackson Arnold had 4+ seconds back there, and, he bust out a tea party and starts drinking tea, and next thing we know, he's getting sacked. That's not on the offensive line. I don't care who you are. That is just not. That's on either whether or not the receivers were open or Jackson Arnold holding on to the ball too long. Either way, we had plenty of opportunities on that final
Yeah.
drive, and we just went out there. We were slow. Before I knew it, we were 2 minutes off of the clock, and I'm just like, where did all the time go? And so it was poor clock management, which is a coaching thing as well. And it seemed like everybody was playing tight. Everybody was tight. And so when you have yourself to be able to overcome what the refs did and overcome all the negativity in this game, okay? All the sacks that you had accumulated up to this point, all the negative rushing yards up to this point, all the botched punt up to this point, you have overcome it, and you are putting yourself in a position to go and win the game, and it didn't look like we wanted it. Not one player on our offense looked like they wanted it in that last drive. Those are
That
opportunities that
last drive.
we let slip.
It's
Okay?
true. Like, you can't survive if you give up 3 sacks in a freaking row,
Yeah.
especially one that ends in a safety. You brought the defense of Oklahoma in. I owe Oklahoma an apology because last week I said I wasn't really impressed with their defense because they played cupcakes, and boy, man, I'll be the first to admit when I'm
Yeah.
wrong. Oklahoma's defensive line is absolutely legit. They
Yeah.
allowed 1.9 yards a carry against Auburn, except for Jeremiah Cobb. He had 10.2 yards a carry, but that was kind of inflated by his
Wow.
44-yard scamper. Um,
Which
but
there's a coaching problem right there. The fact that we did not run him more often.
well, it reminded me of the 2024 Auburn football team where the running was working, and we just went away from it. And I mean, there was a lot of mistakes, both player wise and coaching wise, against Oklahoma. I'm not putting all of the blame on the refs. I'm putting 75%
Yeah.
of the blame on the refs because those 10 sacks did not cost Auburn a 14-point swing. They
Mm-hmm.
just didn't. The refs did. And
Yep.
the game would have been completely different. I know I have a history of blaming refs Over the past 7 years, I have gotten more patient with the refs because
You have.
being a dad of two daughters teaches you a level of patience you didn't know existed until you have those kids. And so I've been getting better with blaming the refs. But this Saturday, I you just can't overlook it. I can't overlook it. I refuse to overlook it. I wish these refs there was some punishment system for the refs for them to be held accountable, pay fines, be suspended games without pay, whatever it is. But it's just never going to happen. It just isn't. I'm not trying to take anything away from Oklahoma's defense. John Mateer looked like an average run of the mill SEC quarterback. He did not
Yeah.
look like the Heisman favorite. I can
No.
understand why he's in the Heisman race. Sawyer Robertson, in my opinion, is twice the quarterback John Mateer is.
Wow.
There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah. Hey, when it mattered most, John Mateer led his team down the field to
It's
score a
true.
touchdown. And so I was not impressed with him up until that drive. When he had to have it, he went out there and he gave it. After getting his ass handed to him all game long. They handled it. And before we fully jump in to talking about the refs, because I haven't even really talked too much about them. You got to talk about the under throws that Jackson Arnold had, okay, which I have brought up all season long, and I have brought up in group chats, I brought up in Discord chats, and not very many people agreed with me. And there were a couple times in this game where he underthrew Cam Coleman, and Cam Coleman made a miraculous catch, or he underthrew another receiver that made a miraculous catch. There's one person that did not make a catch, and that was Preston Howard. We won't talk about him anymore. But
Don't ever want
there
him to
were
have a ball thrown to him ever again.
there were two passes to Cam Coleman, okay? One of which was overthrown by Jackson Arnold. That would have been a touchdown. And the other one, Cam Coleman, he pulled up a little bit. You watch it and he pulled up a little bit, but was overthrown. Uh, and so there were just so many opportunities. And then also, this is the biggest one. I found myself in the second half wondering or thinking, here comes a play. Here comes Cam Coleman. They're going to run that play again. He's going to do that double move, and he's just going to go flying by this freshman. And they never did it. The kid could not stop Cam Coleman. Yeah, they moved to safety over there, but I mean, in this game, put it up, Jackson. Let it fly. Let the ball fly. And Jackson Arnold is just holding on to the ball way too long. The
Yeah.
10 sacks, it's not on the wide receivers completely. It's not on the offensive line completely, and it's not on Jackson Arnold completely. Everybody at
Everyone
one
shares
point in the
blame.
game had an issue. Now, I do personally think there were quite a few times where Jackson Arnold was the cause of a negative play. Maybe it didn't count as a sack because he got a yard because he was scrambling and they trip him up right at the line of scrimmage. But there were countless times where I'm sitting there counting to 4 Mississippi and Jackson Arnold is still not getting rid of the ball. And something has got to change. He has got to pull the trigger. This is what Oklahoma fans were talking about whenever we got him this year, and this is what they were talking about last year. Okay, we didn't want to believe it. You and I talked bad about the drop back game in the Ball State game, and we thought it was a problem. And the fact that he wasn't letting it fly, we overlooked it and we kind of moved past it because we thought, hey, we're going to have the RPO and he's going to be fine. But he still wasn't pulling the trigger when he needed to. Now, Brett Venables and this defense, they were ready for him, man. They had someone ready for him whenever he tried to start running. The defensive line was watching him, so as soon as he started trying to run, they were moving towards him. They contained him completely. Okay? They had a phenomenal game plan for Jackson Arnold, and so I can't take credit away from what they did on the defensive side of the ball. I can take away what they did offensively, and
That,
then
that
now that
oh my God, dude.
and then
Ben
so
Arbuckle
so
is a shisty bitch. He's
let's
he's a
let's
he's a
yeah.
shisty bitch.
Yeah, there's video footage of him flipping off the Auburn sideline. It is a very quick
After that
bird that
cheating
he shoots.
touchdown.
It is a very quick bird, and he kind of realizes, wait a second, I'm probably on camera, and kind of stops himself. It seems like, but it was a little much in my opinion, and Oklahoma knew what they were doing. Okay, these fans that are just like, oh, he just was getting into position. No, they knew exactly what they were doing. They were trying to exploit the referees and exploit a situation that has been specifically written in the rule book, and the referees didn't even know about the ruling. They didn't even know about it. The sideline reporter talks to the ref, and the ref is just like, "Well, all I can say is there were 11 people on the field." Well, no shit, there was 11 people on the field.
You shouldn't be reffing if you don't know the fucking rules. You just
Exactly.
shouldn't. And
I'm sorry.
not even just that play, Cameron. There was
Yeah,
that he had his receivers run multiple rub routes the entire game. They got called on
uh,
two of them,
yeah.
and
I don't
every
mind
a
rub
lot of the
routes.
slants. No, I hate rub routes. It's very clear cheating. That receiver, one
No.
receiver's going out there to do a specific block, while the other one's getting free and wide
If you
open.
don't, if
It's
you're not
complete cheating.
if you don't go out of your way and try to run into the defender like he did on the two that were called, I don't have a problem with the rub route. I mean, that's just
I mean, you can
if
make
you
it
don't
look
run it
like you're
right,
you're trying to run a route.
if you don't run it right, it ends up being what the Chiefs and had happen in the first game of the season, where Travis Kelsey, their tight end, takes out their only wide receiver they have, basically. So you got to do it right on both sides of the ball. But I don't mind rub routes. But the referees, that still image of Cam Coleman going up at the goal line. Yes, we scored on that drive, and so it's not a huge deal. But we had to convert a 4th and 11 to do it. But the referee not even looking at the play, his back is turned to the play. You told me that there's another picture that shows the sideline ref that had eyes on it, and he didn't call it. So it's a little much, if you ask me. I feel like they definitely should have called
There's
that
a thing
if
is a
one
late
ref
flag.
if one ref
Late
got
flags
on
are
it.
thrown constantly.
Cam
Get your head out of
Coleman
your ass.
Cam Coleman had a catch over the middle and was interfered on, and I guess they didn't call it because he caught the pass. I don't know. Um, there were countless holds against our defensive ends that they were not counting on a couple of John Mateer's
You know
scrambles.
those on the safety on Jackson Arnold. There's even a face mask on Jackson Arnold.
I
I've
heard that.
watched a
I
lot
haven't
of
gone back and looked at it.
different angles. Yeah, I've seen a bunch of different angles, and the dude clearly has them underneath and slams them down to the ground. And it's a clear as day face mask. It's just another example
Uh,
of the SEC
yeah.
conspiring against Auburn.
Yeah. And honestly, for me, man, that face mask, I don't even care that it wasn't called, because no part of me thinks that they were going to convert that 4th and 20 forever. I just didn't see it happening. I just really
Crazier things
didn't.
have happened, dude. I mean, there's
Yeah,
such thing
no,
as
I
the
know.
grave digger, and
Yeah.
it can happen.
So, but the refereeing on both sides, because there were missed calls in
Yes.
Oklahoma's favor. It was, now this is the other thing I just found out today, listening to, I believe, Village Vice, okay, one of the Barn podcasts, that these are the same refs that refed the LSU Florida game last week, that had a very poor showing. They had a very poor showing in that game. And what were they
So I had
rewarded
no
in?
knowledge of that game.
Yeah, they were rewarded with the of getting to referee the best game of the week, not just in the SEC, of all the games being played on Saturday. This was the best game. This was the highest profile game. The only reason why we didn't have College Game Day there is because Oklahoma's going to have it later on down the line. I believe the Texas matchup is probably when College Game Day is going to be there. So it's just absolutely ridiculous. There were just so many things that should not have happened. These refs should not have been at this game, and the fact that they were able to get out of the stadium alive is a credit to them. Good for them, because I'm just blown away with how bad some
Are
of the
you
calls have
condoning
been.
violence?
I am not. No, no. I'm just saying it's shocking to me that they were able to get out
It's
of there.
true.
It
They're the
just
reason
really is.
referees wear police escort after games.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. In no way would I ever condone that. No, absolutely not. But it just, I mean, there are crazy people out there that would do stuff like that. So, so the question remains, how do we move forward? Because we got another top 10 matchup coming up this next week. against Texas A&M, and we're going to be breaking down that video. So if you want to watch that, make sure you click that banner up there at the top. See, I did it again. I went to the opposite side. Click that banner up there, and be able to to watch us break down that and get prepared for the Texas A&M game. Um, you got to imagine that the players feel pretty slighted as well, and so it's going to be hard for them to move forward. How do they move forward, Josh?
See, here's my take on this. You probably feel differently. I feel like it's going to be pretty easy to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the defense answered the call. They absolutely did. They did everything they possibly could to improve and to win that game. Um, Jackson Arnold, you gotta try to get him to let the ball go sooner than he has been. But I
Yeah,
feel like it's gonna be easier to move on because everyone and their moms know Auburn should have won this football game, and the only reason Oklahoma did was because of the refs. Now, if it was a talent issue and Auburn completely got waxed on the field, then that'd be a little harder to move on. But seeing everything that we saw, the players get to see everything plus more in depth, and they get coaching on everything they may have done wrong. It's going to be easier for them to move on. We have a
yeah.
history of going into College Station and beating a Texas A&M team we had no business beating, a la 2013.
Yeah, it's been a long time since 2013, though, Josh.
I don't care. Shit happens, dude. History exists for a reason.
Okay, well, for me, I would say you can't ignore a part of the game, but for shits and giggles, I'm going to. So bear with me. Uh, Take away the final drive of the game. Okay, you look at what this team overcame and the fact that they just kept scratching and clawing and fighting every second they could up until that final drive. It just leads me to believe that this team is built different. This team would have folded after that fumble for a return for a touchdown got called back last year. This team folds.
Given up.
That's
Yep,
just
they would
plain
have
and
given up.
simple. It's plain and simple. These guys that are on this team now, they did not fold. And credit to Jackson Arnold. I've never seen a quarterback take 7 sacks and a half and never speed up their clock in their head. I mean, homeboy was getting sacked left and right, getting pressured left and right, and he was still every time he was like, you know what, I am I am willing to sit back here and wait for things to develop. So that gives me confidence because we're not going to see a defensive line like that the rest of the year. Now, is he's going to cost us some sacks? It's going to happen, but you can overcome those sacks. I think, how do we move forward? I think the team is already moving forward. Okay, this coaching staff is able to preach to them, guys, you did not give up. We were in this game. We deserved this game. Now let's go make Texas A&M punish, or let's punish them for what just happened to us.
English is
And
hard.
I truly believe that that's going to be what happens.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like I said, I feel like it's going to be easy for the team to move on and start preparing for Texas A&M. Yeah, I need a couple more days before I get even any more enthusiastic about Saturday. I'm still burnt up, but
Yeah, no,
I
that's
think
fair.
I like our chances against Texas A&M. I think Auburn's better than Notre Dame if that makes
Yeah,
if that gives any consolation because
yeah.
Texas A&M beat Notre Dame by 1 point.
How many wins does Notre Dame have?
One, but they're
Uh,
still in the top 25. Cameron, can you
and
justify
Auburn
that?
got cheated and lost to, at the time, the number 11 team in the country, who moved up 4 spots in this next AP poll, and
And
Auburn
Auburn went
dropped
down 4
out
as well.
of the top
Yeah, it's just
25.
mind-boggling.
I mean, we deserved to
Absolutely,
drop, but I did not think we were dropping out of the top 25, perfectly honest.
no,
So,
definitely not.
Josh, I also, before we end this episode, today was a very difficult day for Auburn fans. And so this question of how do we move forward is in relation to the retiring of Bruce Pearl. And all I got to say is I did not follow Auburn basketball hardly any prior to Bruce Pearl being hired as the Auburn
True.
basketball coach. And now I would say you and me are possibly two of the biggest Auburn basketball fans, college basketball fans that are out there. And it is all because of what Bruce Pearl did for this program. We will air an episode at some point leading up to the season talking about the departure of Bruce Pearl and the hiring of Stephen Pearl as Auburn's next basketball coach to continue the legacy that his father built and continue the program that his father built. But I just have to say a warm thank you and an emotional admiration for what Bruce Pearl has done and the joy that he has brought to this fan, because I cannot express enough how wonderful he is and how wonderful he has made the fans here at Auburn feel. And so,
Yes.
War Eagle, Bruce.
War Eagle, Bruce. Don't listen to Michael Wilbon. He's a bitch. And remember, the only head coach, the only basketball coach in America that has an undefeated head coaching record is Stephen Pearl. Don't ever forget that. He is 1-0 as Auburn head coach, as a head coach, period, in college basketball.
Basketball.
But we're going to miss Bruce Pearl. There was definitely no pressure for Bruce Pearl to leave the program like Michael Wilbon on ESPN would like you to believe. He's an uninformed. Bruce Pearl's going to be severely missed. War Eagle Bruce.
Yeah. Josh, things will get better. The season is not over. Okay? It is not over. We have plenty of opportunity. Our destiny is in our hands. We have way too many ranked opponents left on this schedule to get revenge on. And I'm talking to you, Vandy. We're coming, Diego. We have way too many opportunities that we cannot squander. And so, as long as we learn from these mistakes and capitalize and seize our moment, I think there are great things in store for this team. War Eagle, Josh.
War damn Eagle, man.
There goes Davis. Oh my God! Davis is going running all the way back.